Hey, everybody, and super excited for today's training and today's episode. Before we dive in, just want to let everybody know that today's training and today's episode is actually sponsored by the Expert Content Society. So, for those of you that are not familiar with the Expert Content Society or what it is, it's a monthly membership that turns LinkedIn into your most powerful business development tool. If you're a coach, you're a consultant, a service provider who knows you should be on LinkedIn, but you keep staring blankly at the post box when wondering what I should say, what I should post, Nancy and I totally get it. We've been there. So LinkedIn can feel like shouting into a professional void, but with the Expert Content Society, you get everything that you need to show up confidently through AI-powered content prompts that sound just like you, not a robot, proven templates, and a community of people who actually understand your business challenges. No more guessing what to post, wondering what people are paying attention to. Our members are consistently telling us that LinkedIn has become their top lead source. And honestly, that's exactly why we designed it to do what it does. We make the complicated simple and the overwhelming manageable. If you've been putting off building your LinkedIn presence because it feels too hard or too time consuming, this is your easy button. Check out the Expert Content Society in the link of this episode or the show notes and stop letting your expertise stay hidden. So, the other thing that we wanted to let you know, we've talked about this before, that we are doing a free 3-day workshop called Clients on Command, where we're going over the content structure of what you actually should be posting on LinkedIn that then converts into business or client acquisition. So if you're watching on social, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, and you would like to register, it's completely free. It's from July 28th to July 30th from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live and recorded. Just go to the description, or you can actually just type in the comments workshop, and we will send you the link to get registered. If you're listening on the podcast, super simple. Just go to the show notes, go to the description. You'll see the link there, and we would love to see you there. We've actually partnered with a ton of people for this workshop, and we are expecting a big turnout, and we would love to see you there. So today's training in today's episode is, it's a very simple title, but it's pretty meaningful. And we've entitled today's training in today's episode, "What is actually working on LinkedIn?" I know that sounds like a very loaded statement, or I don't want to say brash statement, but that can mean so many things to so many people. The fact of the matter is, the thing that is working best right now on LinkedIn that you may or may not know is LinkedIn content. So people may say, well, Scott, what about DMing people? What about X, Y, and Z? What about this? Nancy can tell you, we have been doing such deep research and gathering as much feedback as possible, not just from what Nancy and I are doing on LinkedIn, our individual clients and the members of the Expert Content Society, to really kind of start digging into what is actually working. So you have to start asking yourself that question. Is my content strategy working on LinkedIn? And if it's not, what do I need to change? So Nance, why don't you just kind of take the reins now and just kind of like dive in a little bit to how we came to that statement of the thing that's working best on LinkedIn right now is content. And I'm not talking about like a motivational Monday like quote and just putting it out there. Being intentional with your content strategy.
Yeah, well, let me just jump in by saying for anyone listening who, if you've been listening to us for a while, or maybe it is your first time, hearing us or seeing us, however you're experiencing this episode, know that Scott and we have kind of made it our mission, right, to be the ones that are using LinkedIn in the way that it was intended, right? We love supporting people by really advising them in the best ways possible so that number one, you don't get kicked off the platform. Number two, you're actually effective, meaning you're doing what you set out to achieve on the platform. And LinkedIn is all about connection. It's about authenticity. It's about being real. And so whenever it comes to LinkedIn content, the three biggest mistakes that we see that keeps circulating, right? Usually ends up, we get clients coming to us, before they actually start working with us, or we get people saying, why the heck is my content strategy not working? Or why can't I just hit the publish button? And why can't I get going on LinkedIn? And the thing is the three mistakes that we commonly see is number one, people just try to immediately hire someone else and outsource it, right? They feel like hiring someone else to do it and get it off their plate just makes the most sense.
Which I will let all of you know actually violates the LinkedIn user agreement because what most people do in the instance that Nancy just mentioned is that they'll hire some sort of VA that they are then given that person's login credentials to their account, and then they start creating and crafting content and acting as them and interacting as them. That violates the user agreement. You can't have anyone posing as you. But the other big thing that I really want to talk about is no one knows your voice better than you. And I think that's the one thing that people think that it, you can't just press that easy button. There's a lot of people that do work with marketing companies and marketing agencies, but it's a collaboration. The person running that agency is really getting to know their client, their tone of voice, the type of content they want to put out there. They're not just, you know, outsourcing it to someone who's just posting whatever BS they can find on the internet that they want to reshare and repurpose. There has to be intention behind it. So the fact of the matter is that you have to have 100% intention behind everything that you do on LinkedIn, meaning you have to think about the people that you want to see your content. Everyone puts themselves in this position where they're creating content for themselves instead of creating content for their ideal client.
Yeah. So hiring, right, is the first mistake, that most people make. Now, the second thing is okay, and you're going to be like, "What?" Posting on your own with no consistency, no direction, no intention, no clarity. Okay. So, yes, hiring someone to do it for you, it's inauthentic many times, right? There's less engagement, it's generic, right? They're not inside your head, they don't have the thought leadership skills and ability. But posting on your own occasionally does backfire as well, right? Because when you are not clear on what it is that you're doing on LinkedIn, if you're inconsistent, you're feeling lost and you're unsure what is or isn't working, that can be a really frustrating place as well. And really, you can get like no traction whatsoever. And then the third mistake that we see is that people hold back because they're worried about sounding spammy or salesy. Okay. So again, you're hearing like, okay, well, hiring someone else and then posting yourself and then not posting at all, right? It's this circular loop of like, well, what the heck do I do, Nancy and Scott? Right. So that's why we kind of want to introduce this amazing, right, kind of process and this framework that we put together because, again, we are huge fans of integrity, of putting yourself out there authentically, right? Scott talks about it all the time, right? We are out there making friends, we're connecting, okay? We're building. In fact, if anyone's read the book, I think it's called Fanatical Prospecting. There's also, I think there's one, it's about have inbound leads, one of those books or whatever. Anyway, they talk about the whole purpose of social media in many cases, and especially LinkedIn, is building familiarity, right? We're not going to post one thing and people are going to be busting down the doors, right? It's kind of like this snowball, this longer game effect where it's going to build your credibility, right? Getting your thought leadership out there, sharing your expertise, letting people know that you are, a knowledgeable source. You are someone who they would want to hire if they need their problem solved. Okay. So it's a long game. Okay. You want to put content out there that really showcases that. And again, it is this approach, right, which we actually call it's the visibility to conversion method. Okay. And it's putting yourself out there to build the know, like, and trust build the familiarity, make yourself a credible go-to expert where when you are connecting with organizations, CEOs, those power partners, all those different people, they're going to know you're serious and they're going to accept your connection because you're posting quality content, you're growing your network, and you're looking good. Okay. So, this visibility to conversion method is actually everything that backs up our whole entire system for Expert Content Society. And so, Scott, do you want to share a little bit, kind of how this works, right? We combine AI with the human brain.
So, what Nancy and I have found is that there is a great deal of people that have, I would say, two little stumbling blocks. The first stumbling block is inconsistency in creating content for social media, specifically LinkedIn. Just like Nancy kind of alluded to a few minutes ago, you're kind of posting randomly, different times, different days, different types of content, really no structure, really no, I would say, theme or process that you need to have in place. I would say the other sticking point for people is they're not quite sure how to integrate an AI strategy in helping them create this content. And I get it because Nancy and I, a year and a half ago, were at the same sticking point. How do you leverage the likes of ChatGPT to really help you create content that's in your voice? Because a lot of people were just asking ChatGPT, hey, create a post that does this. And they would just basically copy it, paste it, and then they wondered why it sounded inauthentic or,
Got the emojis and M dashes,
yeah, and was using the words like whom instead of who
deep
or
dive,
deep dive or I mean,
rocket ship. Yeah,
yeah,
like all that.
screams AI. So there's another layer to AI that people need to know about, and they're called GPTs. GPTs are basically custom prompts. So it's just like talking to a real human being that is helping take your own words and have it reformatted into a post that is your words, your tonality, your voice, your messaging. So what Nancy and I decided to do is take her expertise of understanding AI and how using personalized GPTs to pull out someone's tonality can create great content on LinkedIn, plus my LinkedIn content strategy that I was doing by hand, very time intensive, and marry the two together to create the Expert Content Society, which, as Nancy kind of said, gives you 24 different personalized GPT prompts per month. So you may be thinking 24 prompts, that means 24 different posts. So that's 6 posts per week that people can have. And it's not the same thing. What people need to understand is the way that LinkedIn works best is varying the type of content that you're posting. Now, I'm not saying what you're saying in the content, I'm talking about from an imagery standpoint. So, a poll question, a newsletter edition, a carousel post, a quote tile, a text post, an image text post, a video, whether it's short form or long form. And you can kind of pick and choose what you want. So, there's people that like to post twice a week, or 3 times a week, or 6 days a week. And the beautiful thing about what we've created is everything is connected to each person's ChatGPT. And all this does is it helps you create quality content over just quantity of content and just throwing it out into the wind and hoping it lands in the laps of the right people. Because each of the prompts, and it's a really cool thing, when you go into the Expert Content Society and say that you want to do a text post, and the title of the text post is maybe something that your industry needs to know of what's going on or changes in your industry. And you're like, you know what? I want to create a post around that because there are some changes going on in coaching and consulting. So there's a little hyperlink that you click that basically takes you into your chat GPT and connects our personalized prompt to your account. And all you have to do, there's a get started button and the first prompt comes up. So it's like you talking to someone that's helping you create content. And it'll say, "Hi, you're about to create a post that's going to talk about some things that are changing in your industry or profession. Who is this post directed towards from an industry or professional standpoint?" And you would type in, "Oh, this is for coaches and consultants." Great. What is one big change that you're seeing right now in the coaching and consulting industry? And you would then type in some of the biggest changes that you're seeing. So I would type in something like the DM strategy that people used to use on LinkedIn, 3 and 5 years ago is not working. And the prompt would kick back and say, "Great, that's something people really need to know. Why do you feel this strategy isn't working?" So it's going to continue to kind of give you some questions. And by the end, it's going to say, "Awesome, here's an example post of what you can use." Now, you can choose to copy and paste it because it's basically your words reworded into a post, or you can copy it, throw it into a Word document, edit it, take some things out, add some things, and then post it on LinkedIn. And here's the beautiful thing. We always tell people if you just set aside an hour of your time to go in and choose two, three, four different posts that really resonate with you, your content's done for the week. And I will tell you this, many of you that have been following me on LinkedIn for the last decade plus, I'm very consistent on LinkedIn. I practice what I preach. I use our prompts. I put my own information in there. And I will tell you, over the last 3 months of using these GPTs that Nancy has created in the Expert Content Society, I personally have never seen this much organic engagement from my network as I am right now. Because the number one strategy right now that is winning most people business on LinkedIn is the quality of their content, storytelling, thought-provoking content, high impact content. Because you have to understand that only 1% of the LinkedIn population creates one or more posts per week, which means 99% are doing nothing. They're either inactive or just passive engagers. So you have to make sure that you are getting as many eyeballs on your content as possible. And you do that through the quality of your content, content that solves people's problems, content that brings people closer to you instead of pushes them further away, content that leaves people better and wanting more. And you don't have to struggle anymore. I think this is the one thing that frustrates me, and I know it frustrates you, Nancy, is that so many people are inconsistent with their content on LinkedIn that don't have to be. And that's why we wanted to create this community, this membership, the tools that are included to make sure that people are consistent now and moving forward and really being up with the times. Listen, AI is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. It's only getting better. But at the end of the day, there's always a human being driving that AI car. And that's where we want to put each and every one of you in the driver's seat of your own content creation strategy using the prompts in our Expert Content Society. Nance?
Yes. Yes. So, like Scott said, right, we're super passionate about this. We call it the visibility to conversion method because, right, we've literally spent so much time reverse engineering what it takes to really put yourself out there. And especially for you guys who are listening, right, who are service providers, these are people who work one on one, right? You guys could be attorneys, doctors, realtors, coaches, consultants, right? We've seen so many people get amazing results, music teachers, coaches, like literally, we've seen so many people plug into this. And again, it's so fun because whenever we initially went to tackle this idea, well, how do we make sure that we are tech savvy and we're using the tools that we're given, but we're also making sure to use our human brains to remain true, right? To who we are, to the skills that we have. And that's exactly what this is all about. I spend hours, okay, hours and hours running, right? A lot of these tools through checks, making sure they're quality. I have a whole rating system, making sure that these are good posts that really are going to work with everyone, right? No matter what your industry is. And it's really, really fun to see some of the output. Okay. So I actually get so excited. It's so funny. Like, we'll create something amazing and I'll be like, I'll send it to my team. Like, you guys got to post this. In fact, we did one last month. It was kind of like an introduction and like who, you were looking to connect with and who, someone could actually refer to you. And it was a really, really amazing post. And again, it's going to look different for every single person because it's
Yep.
your input. But everything is trained specifically behind the scenes to be really, really in line with the LinkedIn algorithm to best practices. This is not generic AI output. Okay. So we're super excited. Again, we've got our workshop coming up soon, right? Which is all about, right? We call it clients on command. It's all about creating that content roadmap, right? Getting those things started. And we will be opening the doors, right, soon for Expert Content Society. So keep an eye out. And if you want to learn more, we'll put the links in the description, right, of this episode. But again, we are super excited. We want to help support. This is our mission, right? We want to help you use LinkedIn the right way. We want to help you grow your business, enhance, obviously, the building, the know, like, and trust, and closing more sales, right? Let's take some of that frustration and stress off your shoulders and give you a plug and play easy button, okay, whenever it comes to content.
Yep. So one final thought, if you're overwhelmed by AI, if you're overwhelmed with the content strategy, we got you covered. And don't get left behind. Like the people that are not leaning into AI, you are going to get left behind. And we want to make this a very easy transition for you to like AI. You enjoy how to use it, and it's going to expand your business. So as Nancy said, we are doing a free 3-day workshop. It's called Clients on Command, your LinkedIn content journey. That is happening from July 28th to July 30th, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is live and recorded, completely free. If you're watching on social, just type the word workshop in the comments. We'll send you the link. If you're listening on the podcast, just go to the description. You can sign up right there. And again, if you are interested in learning about joining our Expert Content Society, which is opening up later this month, we will also leave the link so you can check out the Expert Content Society and what it includes. And if it's of interest, get on our wait list, and we'd love to see you in there. So everyone, we hope you found today's training and today's episode helpful. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye bye.